So what's most important is to generate loyalty among your members. And loyal members spend more money with you. They bring their friends. They sing your praises at every possible opportunity to help you drive growth. And they are willing to put their own reputation on the line to help refer or recommend your business.
Welcome along to episode 203 of the industry's leading business podcast for fitness owners and managers. Each week we invite business experts, coaches, authors and owners from all around the world to share their expert advice with you, the FBP family. This month's interviews are brought to you by our podcast partner, MyZone, the wearable technology that enhances paid programming and drives customer engagement. To find out more, go to myzone.org. Welcome along, everyone. Before we start the show today, I just wanted to say thank you for the emails, the Facebook messages, and the comments that you sent through about our 200th episode celebration. We absolutely loved being able to share such a huge milestone with you all. And once again, we were blown away by the downloads for the episode, which featured the ad strategist Amanda Bond speaking on conversational selling for Facebook. If you happen to miss that show, all you need to do is jump over to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com and search for Amanda Bond. But don't go anywhere just yet, because right now it's time for this week's special guest. Katie Bossie is the Senior Business Manager, Health and Fitness for Listen 360. Katie joined the team in 2015 and she oversees business development and service delivery of their member feedback and reviews management system for all health and fitness clients. Having worked with clubs and studios of all types and sizes, Katie is perfectly suited to share insights and best practices on what drives member loyalty in the health and fitness industry. I had the opportunity to meet Katie at the 2018 Motionsoft Technology Summit, where she was on a panel speaking about data innovations in the fitness industry. Given her in-depth experience with gym members and member feedback, I asked Katie to chat to us today about some of the common myths around customer service and the best ways that we can improve the customer satisfaction in our business. You're about to hear my chat with Katie in just a minute, but first, here's a message from our podcast partner. MyZone is a wearable technology platform that leverages personal goal setting, gamification, and social platforms to motivate your members. Learn more at myzone.org. Enjoy this week's interview with our special guest, Katie Bossie. A very warm welcome to our special guest for today. Katie, welcome and thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I had the great pleasure of hearing you speak at the Motionsoft Technology Summit 2018. You were on a panel talking about data innovations in the fitness industry, and I was completely blown away by just how articulate and well-spoken and knowledgeable you were. So I want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing your expertise with all of us here today.
Oh my gosh, thank you. That is so nice. I had such a nice time at the Tech Summit and was really just fortunate to be included. So it's a pleasure to be here and I really appreciate the opportunity.
Well, Katie, I thought that it was important before we talk about our main topic, which is, of course, 5 myths of customer service. I think we should first set the scene and tell everyone why it is that we're talking about this topic. So do you want to explain to us just a bit of an overview about Listen 360?
I'd be happy to. Yes. So I am the Senior Business Manager for the health and fitness industry at Listen 360. And Listen 360 is the leading provider of member feedback in the health and fitness community. We've got 5,000 clubs and studios currently using our member feedback process in order to consistently gather feedback from members to really evaluate how the member experience is changing through time, what members' perception of the overall experience is, and certainly to be able to really easily diagnose and respond to member issues in order to retain as many folks as possible in the long term.
Well, I think it is clear now why it is that we're talking about customer service today. And I came across this fantastic article on your website, and it was called The 5 Myths of Customer Service. So to start our interview today, can you walk us through what those 5 myths are?
Absolutely. So the 5 myths that we'll be focusing on today are, first of all, that a satisfied member is a loyal member, that the fewer complaints your business has, the better off you are, that your company's commitment to service will get the attention of your members, that new sales are more important than the member experience, and that investing in marketing and advertising is more important than investing in training.
Okay, let's now break down each of those because I know there's going to be a lot of good stuff for us to talk about. So let's go from the first one. Talk to us a little bit more about that one.
You got it. So the first myth is that a satisfied member is a loyal member. And I love to talk about this distinction. This is so central to our philosophy and belief at Listen 360 around how best to serve members. A satisfied member is basically status quo. They're coasting, they're fine, their basic needs are met, but they are not a raving fan of your business. And they will be very easily swayed by competition, and specifically when it comes to getting a deal or getting a price break with another business. So what's most important is to generate loyalty among your members. And loyal members spend more money with you. They bring their friends. They sing your praises at every possible opportunity to help you drive growth. And they are willing to put their own reputation on the line to help refer or recommend your business. So you can hear that loyalty really, really serves your business and your brand long term, as opposed to just kind of meeting kind of the basic needs of members and hoping that they stick with you. So there's a big distinction here, and it really comes down to understanding what really gets at the emotional heart of that member experience and that connection that you have with each individual, and why somebody is motivated to stay with you. Obviously, you can't know this without asking, and that's something that we really encourage, is just to consistently inquire about the member experience to get to the heart of why someone is with you and what is motivating them to stay.
Katie, can you share with us any examples of the methods we could use or the things that we could do to transition someone from being a satisfied member to being a loyal member or a raving fan of our business?
Yes, absolutely. And I think this first starts with really defining your brand promise and the ideals that you hold for your own brand. When you wake up in the morning and you go to work and your team comes in for the day, what is it that you hope to impart on your members? What experience do you hope to provide them? That's kind of the first step in order to start to work on this loyalty. And then it's consistently measuring your members' understanding of your brand promise. Do they agree that you're delivering that super clean, state-of-the-art, family-friendly, whatever it may be, whatever goals you have for your brand? Do your members agree that you're delivering that? And consistently asking the question to really start to understand. Every brand will have individual items that they take away from this, certainly, that they can implement. But I think the first thing is defining it for yourself and for your team, inspiring your team to represent that brand, and then consistently evaluating whether or not your members also perceive that you're living up to that brand promise.
Thank you for diving into that for us, Katie. So that's number one, a satisfied customer is a loyal customer. Number two is the fewer the complaints, the better. I find this one very intriguing. Break this one down for us.
Yes, so it is intriguing because obviously none of us like to hear complaints, and many times when we don't hear them, we think things are going really well. And what we have found is that up to 90% of your dissatisfied members will not voice their complaints. They will just disappear one day. And these are those satisfied members, or in many cases dissatisfied, both of them. So we really want to consistently go for the complaint. In sales, we have an expression called go for no. And I think this applies in literally every sales context or any business context. You want to prompt for a deeper understanding of the member experience, especially when it's negative. If you have a sense for why somebody may even be slightly unhappy with their experience with you, it doesn't have to be this huge negative experience. If it's even something that's slightly bothersome, you have an opportunity to course correct, to address it, and ultimately to retain more members. If you don't know that somebody's at risk of leaving, you can't save them. So we always like to refute this idea that if you're not having any complaints, that everything's great. You want complaints. Complaints are an opportunity to consistently evaluate and improve the member experience across the board.
Do you think that there are ways within our business that we can, I guess, I'm trying to think of the right word, but I guess nurture our customers in a way, or build relationships with our customers and our clientele in a way that they feel comfortable to give that sort of feedback?
Yeah, I think beyond asking for it, creating a culture around really wanting to understand is central, just like you're alluding. And I think that the presence of an owner, an operator, or even just the team within the business, consistently being present, asking, is there anything we can do to make your workout better today? Having an energy of wanting to improve and an expectation to members that the staff is there to improve their overall experience. And that doesn't necessarily mean bowing down to all requests. I know, sometimes you get requests and feedback that's really just not something you can do anything about. That's very common. But just to consistently be present and available for members, and really just to kind of develop a culture around deepening that member connection and that member relationship.
There's a fantastic book, one of my favorites that I recommend to a lot of people. It's by the author Jay Baer. I don't know if you've read it before. It's called Hug Your Haters. Have you heard of this book before?
I've not heard of it.
It's a fabulous book, and we had Jay on the show in episode 75, and the book basically helps you understand how to handle and respond to customer complaints that are both online and offline. And it's got some really good strategic ways to actually deal with it, because I know that this is an area that a lot of people, they have they're challenging to actually answer when people feedback or give constructive feedback or give complaints. So if anyone is interested, that is a fabulous book, Hug Your Haters by Jay Baer. I'll put the link in today's show notes. So we've covered off myths number 1 and 2. Let's move on to number 3. A company's commitment to service will get the attention of customers. Talk us through this one.
Absolutely. So this really comes down to whether or not members perceive, understand, and buy into your brand promise. So you as a business can really have as many ideas and goals as you'd like around the service that you want to provide. And this comes back to what I was saying earlier. It's so important to establish that, to really determine what's important to you and what's important about the service that you put forth in the world. But defining that, and really, I guess it's a difference between defining it and your members perceiving it. And it's very, very common for companies to say, okay, here's our core value. Here's what we do. And they kind of assume that members get that they feel that, and they're all on board. It's super common, for businesses to behave this way. And what we have found in our research is that many times members do not perceive that brand promise, and they have a totally different experience of what's happening. In fact, there was a study done by a consulting firm called Bain & Company, where they determined that with the businesses they were consulting with, I believe it was about 360 businesses at the time, they did a little study. They asked the companies that they were working with, do you believe that you provide a superior customer experience? 80% of the businesses that were surveyed said, yes, we absolutely provide a superior experience every day across the board. When the consulting firm interviewed the customers of those different businesses, only 8% agreed that they received a superior experience. So this is a significant delivery gap. It's very common. And it really comes down to not only defining who you are and the service you want to provide, but understanding from your member's point of view, is that happening? And the only way to do that is to ask them for feedback.
So, Katie, the Net Promoter Score is something we've spoken about on the show previously, but I always think it's important to just do a quick recap, a quick reflect on how it's actually calculated. So anyone that's perhaps listening to the show for the first time, or anyone that's not familiar with Net Promoter Score, can get a really thorough understanding of what it is. So can you explain to us exactly what is the Net Promoter Score and how is it calculated?
Yes. So We use at Listen 360 a methodology called the Net Promoter Methodology. And this is not unique to Listen 360. This is a methodology used by hundreds of thousands of businesses. It was developed back in the 90s by the consulting firm I just mentioned, Bain & Company. And it's very, very easy to implement. And it really helps get straight to the heart of member loyalty. And it's very simple. You ask the question, on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely would you be to recommend our business to a friend? And this question not only allows you to ascertain, how somebody's doing, if they're willing to recommend you or not and why, but you're also able to calculate what's known as the Net Promoter Score, which is a direct reflection of your overall level of member loyalty. So you can do this with a comment card. You can do this with a paper survey, with an online form. You can really implement this instantaneously in your business today. And it allows you to really take the next step when it comes to gathering feedback and to really start measuring loyalty as it relates to, the service that you hope to provide.
Thank you so much for explaining that so thoroughly, Katie. So we've covered off the first 3. Let's move into number 4 now. And myth number 4 is that new sales are more important than customer service. Talk us through this one.
Sure. So this sounds fairly obvious that, I think when I read these myths, this is the one that stands out to me and says like, oh no, I know that customer service is important. But it really comes down to living this truth that new sales are not more important than customer service, that it's absolutely essential to provide service for your existing members. And I know I'm preaching to the choir with when it comes to retention. Retention is obviously a focus of really every fitness business. I've never met a fitness owner operator who is not focused on this, but it does cost 5 to 25 times more to attract a new member than it does to retain an existing one. And I think when I speak about this topic, I like to point out the difference between what we call good profits and bad profits. And this topic is central to the Net Promoter Methodology as well. Money is money, whether it comes from a happy member, somebody who absolutely loves you, or somebody who's very frustrated with their experience. A dollar is green, no matter where it comes from. But when you're looking at your profitability and the way that you're making money, there's a huge difference when it comes to loyalty between good and bad profits. The best example that I can give of a bad profit, this really just I think cuts straight to the heart to everybody who I speak about this to, is the baggage fee imposed by airlines. A few years ago, all of a sudden, there's a $25 fee to bring your suitcase on board, which was never imposed before. And that $25 is as good as $25 coming out of a flight or any other, profit generation process, but it severely impacted and degraded the relationship between the airlines and their clients. It was bad profitability. It caused a negative experience, and it was just kind of a grading topic. So I always like to point this out when we talk about good profits versus bad profits and the importance of retaining members and attracting new members. This is something to keep in mind. So when you're looking to make maybe impose a new fee or have some new kind of profit generation process within your club, keep this in mind, because your active members are keeping your business afloat. And degrading that loyalty with a new fee can cost much more in the long term than you'll make in the short term with something that would be in our world considered a bad profit.
Okay, we're on to number 5 already. Invest more in marketing and advertising than in training or customer service. Tell us a little bit more about this one.
You got it. So the loyalty of your frontline staff is the number one biggest driver of member loyalty, hands down across the board. If your team members believe in your brand, they represent your brand, and they are passionate about the service that they provide, that will directly translate to loyalty within your member base. And this is so, so important. So I always love to talk about the importance of training your team and making your team feel like a family will do wonders for your bottom line. You will develop a loyal employee base. You will develop a loyal member base, and that loyal member base will directly drive growth and profit for your business. So super important to drive new sales. Of course, we all need that. But investing in your training teams and really developing that sense of community will help you guys so much in the long term. When it comes to driving that loyalty and to get people fired up about your brand long after they may leave and they may move away, they may join another gym, but loyalty lasts forever. And they will still remember the good experience they have. They may refer a friend who's new to the area. They may continue to get your communications and to post on social if there's something, that appeals to them. It can really translate for such a long time if your member base is loyal, and that really starts with the frontline team that greets them when they walk into the facility every day.
Katie, for the people that are listening at the moment that are perhaps feeling that some of those myths that we've just taken them through are feeling a little bit familiar and they're starting to wonder whether or not their own business is operating within those myths, and we've touched on this through our chat today, what is the best way to tell if our business is operating within those myths that we've just touched on?
The best way to tell if you're operating within some of these myths is if you're guessing. If you're guessing with new operational processes, improvements, where to spend your time and energy and resources, what your members want to see from you, if you're speculating about those items, you may be falling into these categories, and that's okay. This is not uncommon, but it can be such a game changer to identify that you may be falling into these categories. And I would really recommend that you simply begin communicating with your members in a new way if you're not already. The best recommendation that I have is to start that dialogue. Ask for feedback. Seek out those complaints. Track and measure your member experience from the point of view of your members to really start to chip away at some of these bad habits and to really inform the decisions and processes that you put in place in your business.
Katie, we're going to finish off today with our Fitbispiration. Can you share with us 3 ways that we can improve the customer satisfaction within our business?
Absolutely. And I love that you asked the question that way. I will answer a little bit differently, and I'll share with you the 3 ways to improve your member loyalty across the board. Instead of satisfaction. That's a big shift that we talked about early on. And I think the best ways to improve your member loyalty really start out, this is kind of a recap of the conversation we've had. First of all, defining your brand promise, identifying the business that you want to run, that you want to get up and work at and run and represent every day. Then to invest in your team and invest in creating a sense of community within your staff, and really instilling within them a culture of understanding your brand promise and of representing it within your member base and in your facilities every single day. And third, again, ask your members for feedback and be willing to course correct. I know it can be a lot of our clients have a hard time starting this process. If you're not gathering feedback, it can be intimidating to start, but you will always have more positive feedback than negative. And when you get negative feedback, try to think of it as a gift, because there you have an opportunity to pivot, to adjust, to retain somebody before they leave, and to really better your business from the ground up, from the point of view of your most important constituency, the folks that keep the lights on every day, your loyal member base. So define your brand promise, invest in your staff, and ask your members for feedback consistently.
Katie, they are 3 great tips to finish up on today. I want to thank you so much for joining us. This has been such a great conversation around those 5 myths of customer service. I think you've given us some great insights into what we need to do and having a look at our business. So if anyone wants to get in touch with you, or if they want to find out more about Listen 360, where's the best place for them to go?
Oh, absolutely. We'd love to chat. Again, my name is Katie Bossie, and I am the Senior Business Manager for Health and Fitness. So if you'd like to chat with me, you can email me at Katie, Katie, .Bossie, BOSSIE, at listen360.com. You can also visit listen360.com to learn more about our service.
Nice and easy to remember. And Everett, I'm going to put Katie's email address. I'm going to put the Listen 360 website. I'm also going to put a link to that article on their website around 5 myths of customer service. So, Katie, thank you so much for joining us on the Fitness Business Podcast today.
It was such an honor. Thank you for having me.
Gym Sales allows you to plan, implement, and monitor a proactive sales strategy that's automated and uniform. You can give your sales team the tools they need to capture, nurture, and convert new members, which means it's easier than ever before to grow your member base. Make sure you head over to gymsales.net to find out more information.
Precore Quickfire 5.
The Fitness Business Podcast, along with our foundation partner Active Management, were media partners of the 2018 Motionsoft Technology Summit. Following the event, I had the opportunity to speak with a number of the panelists, and next week's special guest was one of those people. Enjoy this week's Precore Quickfire 5 with the Director of Strategy for XL Health and Fitness, Jeff Helfgott. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome our special guest for today. Jeff, welcome, and thank you for coming on the show today.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Jeff, it was such a pleasure meeting you recently at the Motionsoft Technology Summit 2018, and I'm so thrilled that you said yes to being a guest on the show. So we're going to start things off today with our Precore Quickfire 5 questions. Can you tell everyone, why do you do what you do?
The people. I've chosen every job from the Army to my current role based on the people. If you're going to be investing years of your life with them, they better be good.
And what's one ritual that helps you become better at what you do?
I put a Post-it note on my steering wheel every morning on the one thing that I need to get done. If I get in the car after work and haven't done it, I get back to it.
Oh, I love that. I've never heard that before.
It's yours. Steal it.
I'm going to. That's phenomenal. I'm gonna take that one and run with it. And what's one app or system that you use to stay in control of your workload?
On the higher tech side, I like the iPad with the split screen between Notability and Asana to help me keep track of everything I'm working on.
Good one. And are there any books, podcasts, or blogs that you would recommend, and why?
Podcast. Dan Carlin's Hardcore History. The guy has so much passion about history. It's just infectious. I love listening to him.
Oh, brilliant. We'll grab that one and pop it in the show notes and give everyone a quick overview of the topic that we're going to be speaking about during your main interview.
Yeah, I thought today would be leadership development. Randy Hetrick from TRX covered leadership a few weeks ago on the show, and I thought it'd be good to try to follow in his footsteps and talk more about how people can develop their own leaders.
Well, I know this is an area that you are very passionate about, so I'm really excited to talk to you about that topic. So, Jeff, thank you for joining us today for the Precore Quickfire 5.
It's been my pleasure.
Join fitness industry peers from around the globe at the 6th Annual Motionsoft Technology Summit in Washington, D.C. You'll learn how the most successful operators in the fitness industry have implemented technology solutions and tools to improve operations, increase productivity, and exceed member expectations. Visit MotionsoftTechnologySummit.com today to register for the 2019 Motionsoft Technology Summit. Before we finish off today, a quick reminder and a very important announcement for everyone that's going to be coming along to URSA 2019. You are all invited to the FBP Family Meetup on Wednesday, March the 13th at 6 a.m. If you haven't been to one of our meetup walks before, let me tell you a little bit about it. It is an active networking event. We walk and we talk for 45 minutes and then we return back to the main entrance of the Marriott Marquis San Diego Marina by 6:50 a.m. The meetup is completely free and believe me, it is the best way to start your day. We need to know attendance numbers, so please make sure you jump over to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, go to the top of the page and click on the tab called Meetup, then register your details for the URSA walk. If you need any more information whatsoever, please just email me directly at chantal@fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. Before we finish off today, that of course, all the resources, the links and a transcript for today's show can be found at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. As we come to the end of today's show, I do want to thank our foundation partner, Active Management. I need more leads, is what many fitness business owners say. Let Active Management help turn your About Us page on your website into a lead generating machine. Download your free checklist at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/active. Thank you all for joining me for another week of the show. I will see you next week. And remember, what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.